Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Crypto Morning Coffee. I got my coffee locked and loaded, ready to go. And we are going to talk about some interesting news slash rumors because Black Swan, that is what everyone is talking about right now. Could there be a Black Swan event coming? Will the crypto market not come back in the form that everyone expects it? Will my hairline be good enough for the stream? Just kidding, but will a Black Swan basically rip down everything that is going on in the crypto markets right now? That is basically what people are worrying, and we are going to talk about it right after the intro. So, good morning, every one of you. I hope you're doing fine. As I said, I got my crypto coffee here. And guys, please do me a favor, smash up the like button if you can already. That is the most important thing. Other than that, please subscribe to this channel if you want these live streams, if you like these live streams and want to watch them again. Tick the little bell to get notified when I go online. And if you want to become a rare hodler, which means being a channel member, you see the rare hodlers that are supporting me all the time here on my intro screen, then I really appreciate that. I appreciate each and every one of you that are supporting me in this way. Very important, obviously. And I appreciate the rest of you that is giving a like on the stream. But yeah, without going too much into self-advertisement, let's just jump right in. So let's maybe start off with this, because when we're talking about Black Swan, most of the people are thinking about global economics, about what is happening globally, and about deep recession. So EU economics chief says Europe is gripped by a double crisis, but it can avoid a recession. So Russia full-scale invasion of Ukraine sparked serious fears in Europe that the region would enter a significant economic slowdown. The euro area in the end grew at a rate of 3.5% in 2022, according to International Monetary Fund. The slowing down started from the last quarter 2022, and it is there. But please don't call this a recession, because I think we can avoid a recession. We are avoiding a recession, says Paolo Gentiloni, the European Commissioner of Economic Affairs. And it's funny because it's like begging everyone that feels like the sentiment of the citizens in Europe that feels that there is a recession. It's like, please don't call it a recession. Although there were already newspapers months ago that basically said the whole European zone is in a recession. But hey, please don't call it a recession. Europe is facing the impact of a double crisis, but the region can avoid. So what's the double crisis? From a geopolitical point of view, the crisis impacted, of course, the US and all the world, but from the economic point of view, it impacted seriously Europe and Germany in particular, so my home country. So basically, the slowing down started from the last quarter, as I said, because of the energy independence, or better, the energy dependence, so that basically energy prices are way too high. That is one of the major factors in Europe, according to them at least. And yeah, that's basically where people are worrying there could be a black swan, because we know that this is not the only factor. We know that during 2020 and 2022, the entire world has been dealing with locking down their people, with printing excessive amounts of money, saving companies that would have gone under either way, and now is dealing with the consequences of this extensive monetary policy. I mean, is basically money printing against crisis, right? And then delaying the crisis. By the way, good morning to you, Luke and Felipe. I smashed the like button, made my coffee, and I'm ready. Let's go. 8 people here. Yeah, so it's flip-flopping between 8 and 10. Please smash the like button, everyone. Let's get this up to 20 at least. And everyone who has a coffee, like me, we cannot forget about this. Okay, but let's move on. So on the other hand, there are voices for a soft landing without a massive unemployment spike, or is it? Because unemployment in the US has been going up quite a bit. So let's quickly listen into this one here, where I will mute myself. It's only a couple of seconds long, and then we'll continue here.
People did say that you weren't going to see inflation coming down absent a really big increase in unemployment, and yet inflation in the latest report, the 3-month, is back down to pre-pandemic levels. And it's really closely tracked that supply chains index. Meanwhile, the labor force participation has increased much more than people thought. You're seeing balance in the labor market and a continued strong economy under the policies that President Biden has put in place. People did.
Okay, so basically, we have heard that, basically the media is there saying that this time is going to be different, that this time it will be maybe possible to curb inflation with extensive amounts of rate hikes without having a spike in the labor market. Labor market still strong in the basically in the numbers of unemployment. But on September 2nd, it came out that the US unemployment rate spiked actually to, or they say spikes, so others say little tick up, then again people say jumped to 3.8%, but the labor market still has momentum. So non-farm payrolls increased 187,000 in August, unemployment rate in the US 3.8% from 3.5% in July, and apparently also the average hourly earnings gained a little bit, 0.2%, but up to 4.3%, meaning that if this is your hourly gain on a year-on-year hourly gain of 4.3% with, let's say, an 8% inflation, then you're still down 3.7% year over year in your purchasing power. What you can do with that, right? So yeah, not too good. This means that everyone, even if they're finding new jobs, is still basically worse off than before. This only after also including that during unemployment probably there was not much money coming in for those people. But yeah, as people say here, they call it labor market participation. So what they want, what the Fed wants to see is that basically the labor market is not as strong anymore and not so many job openings above the ones that are really seeking jobs, and this is taking effect now. So from a standpoint of the Fed, this might be good, but the problem is, what cannot be good is if the unemployment rate rises too quickly and is really like companies going down, and unemployment really spiking up, like let's say doubling this number or stuff like that, really massive layoffs, because that would mean that in this part the economy would be too rapidly shifting and would force the Fed to switch from tightening directly into quantitative easing again, so pumping money again into the economy. And at this point in time, this would just bring us back to inflation, and then they would have no measures left to bring the US back in let's say in a 3 or 2% inflation target. So if they go too quickly, and this is why they're probably not going to do another rate hike in the next month, is if they go too quickly, they could throw the economy out of balance. And this would be a black swan. And if we think about it from a crypto perspective, 97% of all crypto volume is coming from the US, roundabout. And if those people all do not have money anymore, or there's massive crisis and people just don't want to invest and risk on assets, that could throw the crypto market trajectory out of its balance. But we are still a little bit away from it. So let's look at another one. Max Kaiser predicts an economic collapse months away and a shift to the Bitcoin standard. So this is equally good and bad for the crypto market. I mean, if the entire prediction would come to fruition, then we would have more crypto adoption out of it. But if there is an economic meltdown that is only months away, probably what is going to happen is that everything is going to so deep into the red that it's first a good buying opportunity, but secondly it will scare and wreck even more people, and it will make crypto exchanges and banks and whatever also collapse. And again, so if something like this, an economic meltdown like this would happen, which we are looking at here, we would look at something similar to 2020 beginnings when we wicked so deep down before our last bull market. But we see here financial broadcaster Max Kaiser, an advisor to the president of El Salvador, warns that the world, and as an advisor of El Salvador, he is highly biased because he basically is advising a country that has made a strategic decision on Bitcoin, right? That warns the world is on the brink of an economic catastrophe that could unfold within months. In a recent video interview, Kaiser discusses the failing fiat money systems, rising inflation, and the role Bitcoin can play in the financial future. So he's a television presenter, radio host, entrepreneur, broadcaster. He's basically everything. Kaiser asserts that the collapse of fiat money system in various countries such as Argentina and Lebanon clearly indicates a dire situation. He emphasizes that recent inflation numbers are signaling the instability of these systems and that the impact is tangible, affecting people's ability to afford housing, food, and energy. And that is something that we see all around the world, right? In some countries, like the Western countries, many people cannot afford housing anymore. Many suffer from high energy prices, and food is still mostly available in these countries, obviously. But there are other countries where housing is just impossible, energy is unpayable, and food is scarce. So that is happening in some countries as well. We have seen that over the time here on this stream also, that Pakistan, for example, has been granted a 3 billion bailout, I think, from the IMF. Argentina has received, I think, another aid from the IMF, has been failing to repay their foreign debt, which basically makes you impossible to maneuver, because if you cannot pay your foreign debt anymore, that means that you cannot print money anymore because inflation is already too high, and that your gross domestic product is not enough to cover the debts that are ongoing, not even basically the interest rate on the debt. So he points the situation out. I have pulled this also up for you guys. Found this nice statistic here from World of Statistics on Twitter. So you see here inflation rate, right? 398%, Venezuela, followed by Lebanon 252, followed by Syria 139, followed by Argentina 113. So these are all over 100. Imagine 100% inflation. That is like, you look at the articles that you buy and you think from now to next year everything will double in label price, but will your salaries go up in that way? And also, what does that mean for the purchasing power of the salary that you get today? Well, that means that if you earn $3,000 per month, and basically you can 1 year after, let's say you save one of these salaries, right? 1 year after, you can only buy half of what you have bought this time in a supermarket or wherever you are, right? So even Turkey, 47%, 50%, Egypt, 36%. So let's look just at the list until this looks normal. Like Pakistan, we've just mentioned it. Nigeria, Hungary, Kazakhstan, Ukraine, Poland. So they're all double-digit inflation numbers. The UK actually was at over 10% a while ago. Then Bangladesh, Sweden, Czech, and here's now the first countries, right, that are coming in that are part of the Eurozone. We have like Hungary is in the Eurozone, Poland is in Eurozone. So you have Sweden, which is usually seen as a very successful, economically strong, green power driven country and so on. Still, prices are increasing way too rapidly. Czech, Austria, India, UK, Kenya, Finland, Germany, everyone with high inflation numbers, right? Yeah, and then then you see there's even worse, because there are some countries that are basically in deflation mode, which is bringing you even faster to economic meltdown, right? So Afghanistan, obviously, with a deflation of 6.5% is just horrible. Seychelles 1.98, China and Armenia. I think the countries that are in a good shape in that sense are the ones here, right? So somewhere around 2 to 3%, but we see just this a huge list, and many of the countries are in a very, very bad shape inflation wise, and these countries here that got an inflation rate of let's say maybe also Hungary, but these up here beyond 25%, they basically lost control over the measures. Dr. Knut Green Lantern says, in the car, GM. Blaze says, good morning, PH. How are you doing, guys? I hope you're fine. 25 people here, so guys, make sure to smash up the like button for this content if you enjoy it. We're closely observing this. Obviously, this is not going, such a black swan is not going to play out right now just because you see some signs, but it could just lead to, let's say, to an economic challenges worldwide. And also, if you think about it, the countries that I mentioned here from the Eurozone, this is one more aspect, like Hungary, like Poland, like Czech Republic, Austria and so on, they're all managed by the same central bank in the sense monetary wise, right? So that means that one central bank has to decide or has to manage the interest rates and the output of new cash in an entire zone of 27 countries, where some have low inflation and some have high inflation. How do you manage this, right? So Blaze says, I think they'll pop up the dollar until CBDCs are in place, maybe another few years. Yeah, I think so too. Honestly, I think they are going to, I don't know, at some point they have to do quantitative easing, even though that the dollar, they will stabilize the dollar as much as necessary to then be able to do quantitative easing to bring the US a couple of years more into the, like, every government will try to bring the meltdown into the next period when someone else is president, right? So every government will always try to stabilize, but then go back to quantitative easing. I think, for example, Brazil is now moving back to quantitative easing because they are sitting at 4% inflation, but their interest rate, central bank interest rate, is at 13%. So they have been on 13% for years, like on a very high interest rate, and now they are bringing down that interest rate and going back to quantitative easing to give a little bit more infusion into the economy. So and then, I mean, you also have to consider that this is official inflation rates. This is mostly an understatement. So you can calculate a couple of percent on top of this, and in some cases even more. When I traveled in 2015, I traveled to Argentina, and the interest rate was the inflation rate was 10%. And on the street, you got, for €1, you got, no, I'm sorry, the inflation rate, I don't remember how much it was. It was more, but the exchange rate from €1 to 1 peso was 1 to 10 official government exchange rate, and on the street you got 16 pesos for €1, meaning that people were actually willing to trade 16 pesos in reality for €1 just to have a more stable coin, basically, right? So a more stable currency in hand. So the official rate was understating how bad the devaluation really was. If you think about it, if people are willing to pay 60% more already just to get into something more stable, so you could already see the effects there of that, and the government was only willing to exchange. Green Lantern says, is channel support through your Patreon? Actually, you can use the channel membership on YouTube if you want. So you can just become a member there. And otherwise, there is a Patreon on the Patreon side, which is, I think, /PatientHodler. I will put it in the video description afterwards if you want to use that one. But I was mostly trying to make it easy for people and just use the to have the one directly on YouTube, where you just have to click subscription in YouTube. But both count equally for my Rare Hodler membership. If you meant that. I don't know if you meant that. But let's look at this. Let's continue here. Performance start. So September usually isn't a great month for Bitcoin. Let's look a little bit at Bitcoin then. But we stick to the Black Swan topic. So I made everything evolve around this because there's more. But let's just look at it. So traditionally, there is no big movement in September for Bitcoin. So you see here in 2014, high volatility, Bitcoin was minus 19%, and then it had 2 positive years, but only 3 to 6%. And then after 2016, Bitcoin only had negative years, of which 2022 was the best of these negative years with only minus 3%. So the likelihood is that Bitcoin is being negative there. Vivi Vibes subscribe to the channel. Welcome to the fam. Good to have you here. By the way, 26 people also here. So if you want to support the channel in an absolute free way, then smash up the like button right now. Thanks for the like. So what we can expect from Bitcoin is, more likely than not, we will have another slightly negative month with somewhere between minus 3 and minus 8% if we follow just the trend of the last years. On the other hand, we have experienced this year very little volatility. So if you see this here, this very, very little volatility. So there could be a violent move coming still in September. This could be happening, right? Ooh, yeah, now we're ramping up to 30 people. Wow. So let's go and smash all the likes that we can. So that is for Bitcoin. Obviously, I would like to see a violent move to the upside so that we can break this trend in September. But then we're certainly heading in October. So less than 30 days, we are heading into October, and only 2 times October was negative, so we should be seeing some action in coming into October. This is supported by the wallets with more than 10 Bitcoin statistics. So you see the orange line here. We're at the 3-year high of wallets that hold more than 10 Bitcoin. 157,000 wallets with more than 10 Bitcoin, sorry. Yeah, and 10 Bitcoin is going to be the new whales, someone says. Then let's look at also this comment here. I think this is a perfect comment because I also figured that the phase that we're in right now with non-movement is the worst phase of the entire Bitcoin or crypto market. I have told this many times before that the massive drawdowns in the bear market is not the big problem. The big problem is when people believe that the market is not coming back in the form that it was before, right? So Cecil says here, late stage crypto crap markets, crap because it's going sideways all the time, are worse than the bear market for most people. It's the what if there's never another bull market phase of the crypto cycle. It's wherever even multi-cyclers get shaken out and start to lose faith. Ironically, this is usually when the bull returns. And I feel that we are in the middle, if not even later stage of the crypto crab market, where we have this massive sideways movement. Also, for example, in Ecomi and Vivi. Obviously, we had another nice little pump there on Ecomi. We had some nice little pumps on altcoins, but overall, we are in a stage right now where everyone fears that something must be happening. Something is happening right now that will hinder the market from coming back. And I don't believe this is the case. And I believe that this is part of the bigger shakeout game. That whenever faith is still too strong, that whales are moving the market so that they are moving the market, that leverage traders fall off, but they're also playing market psychology so that you guys and that I will lose faith in that market and that we are going to fall off the wagon. And we're not going to let that happen. We're not going to fall off the wagon. We're staying here and we're looking at the markets every single day, and we're looking at metrics and statistics every single day. But we cannot forget that, corrections after ramp-ups are an essential part of Bitcoin cycles. A lot of institutional money is waiting on the side. We cannot forget that shakeouts are a part of the game before the massive move into crypto is happening by institutional money. We're not alone anymore in this market. We are little goopies, we're little goldfish swimming in a tank full of sharks and full of mega whales. And we see here the 50 SMA 14 to 17 and now 21 to 2024 comparison, and it looks really similar, right? So we have this curve up right now. And this is the I think this is is it a weekly chart or is it a monthly chart? I cannot see it, but I think it's a monthly, and we see we had a ton of green monthly candles. We are in this corrective phase. We are curving up right now, and we are so close to a massive move to the upside. It will look massive in hindsight, even though we are only making 3, 5 and something %. But I think this is now accumulation time, and what market makers are doing, they are shaking people out while they are accumulating. So they are sitting like the whales below. They are just having their mega big mouth open, and they are waiting for all the coins being dropped right now. So this is going to happen, and this is why fear is being spread, right? And this is why I wanted to address the black swan topic here, and also have a conclusion towards that, because, for example, this is one of the stories, one of the black swans, especially for the crypto market. How could this happen? Only by an economic meltdown that then liquidates leverage positions, and also the SEC basically destroying Binance, right? So here they say CZ debunks rumors and FUD. He claims Binance is financially stable because, and then some people are saying like the big Bitcoin therapist here, BNB is a ticking bomb. Yeah, and could he ever say the opposite, even if it was true? Hey, I'm the founder of X company and I'm in deep shit. But that's like that person didn't understand, I think, the difference between CZ and Elon Musk, right? That's actually weird. But anyways, people are throwing FUD around with regards to Binance. But let's just say this FUD would not be FUD, but actually a real worry. So I found this from Bitcoin News here. Here are the 5 richest Bitcoin addresses and their owners according to Arkham Intelligence, the known ones, I think. So there's Bitfinex. The Bitfinex hack recovery held by the FBI is the 5th biggest wallet with 94,643 Bitcoin, 2.45 billion. Then there is the Binance Cold Wallet with 115,000. Then we have Robinhood with 118,000 Bitcoin. Then on place 2 we have Bitfinex Cold Wallet, 178,000 Bitcoin. Then I think it's a cold wallet on Bitfinex, or it's the exchange wallet, I'm not quite sure. But then here we have the Binance, it's the Bitfinex cold wallet, and then the Binance cold wallet with 250,000, 6.4 billion. So this is only, and the reason why some entities are not popping up in this chart, because you could think, hey, where's MicroStrategy, is because they don't hold all of the Bitcoin in one wallet. They are scattered out, and this is only an on-chain analysis of what's in a single wallet. But if you look at Binance, we have Binance here, and then we have Binance on place 4 as well. So there are 3 billion, and then there are 6.4 billion. So let's just say that there was this Black Swan event and Binance would go down because of financial instability, because of a mega crash. Then this would liquidate probably tons of Bitcoin from Binance, which is like, what is that, 250,000 Bitcoin, and then another 115, so 365,000 Bitcoin would be then liquidated into the market. So I think this is the only way, like Tether collapsing or Binance collapsing is the only way that we still see a massive, like this mega crash to sub 10,000 that some people are calling. I think only if that happens, we would see that, right? So yeah, with that, let's look at the markets today. So we are still with regards to the altcoin market. We are mixed today. In the top 100, we have some gainers on the week. Let's look at the day. So we have this Rocket Pool leading the charge with 13%, and Rune is losing 6.5%. Overall, XML has a good day. Pepe has a green day here with 2.3%. Ecomi is not in the top 100 yet, but I think there is a good chance that it will go into the top 100 with the next pumps. Let's look at the top 100 as well, where Ecomi is. So Ecomi is right there here on the side with minus 3.2 on the day. We have LPT, which is Live Peer, leading the charge. Also, there are many new coins popping up right now in the top 200. If we look at the weekly, we see OMI correcting back 13%. For many, that's accumulation time, but be very careful. We are looking at the chart in a second. Nonetheless, there are also some big red bubbles here that are correcting, that have been pumping, like Tomi, Akash Network, and Blur. Which is, I think, the Blur NFT marketplace. So no wonder that they are down. And we have here Fetch AI pumping. Fetch AI actually the biggest gainer in the top 200. Now, with that, let's look at some real stuff, which is, let's look at some TA, and let's start out with the dollar value because we have already discussed it. So obviously part of a crash in the markets would also be an enormous spike of the dollar value. We are looking at the daily chart at the moment. We are getting rejected at this point. If you see with this candle close here, we are actually still under this level, and we want to see the dollar getting rejected here, which is very likely because of the situation of the labor market, meaning that Jerome Powell not hiking directly more and we are coming down here. That would be the ideal scenario for the crypto market at this point in time. Looking at BTC, I said if we lose this level here, and sorry for all the lines, but if we would lose this level, I said before, then we would basically confirm an inverse cup and handle pattern, which you see here, which I've drawn in there. And yeah, basically this is the support neckline for that. Actually, that is slightly incorrect. That is the support neckline level, and we see here we have basically just dip-wicked under it, and now we're above it again. So the big question is, can we hold this level? Will we just come up from here, or are we going to make this move here down to 22,000 or something like that? It's still a risk. We have basically, since the last live stream, we have not moved in any kind of way, so there's really no point for me to spend much time on Bitcoin right now. Just be aware that price action is boring. This is, as we said before, this is the crap market, because if we look at the weekly, for example, and you look at this, I mean, since what is that here? Since 13th of March, we're just moving sideways. We're just boring. We have still this risk of forming an head and shoulders pattern and just drop, right? But this is only a risk. This doesn't have to play out like that. We can also just form something like that and retest here this resistance, and from there we could blow out in our end of year rally, because if you think, here is already December, right? Here would be already December. So if we would come up here, retest this, get rejected, come up, test on top, we would form another higher high, and then this would be the year already going into the halving, right? If we would form something like this, which is not super unrealistic, that would be already 4th of March here, what we see here. So the halving we could coming down again, and then the halving trickle a little bit sideways and go into our parabolic market phase. It could happen, right? So will it play out like that? We are not sure. But first of all, we need to hold this level, or we need to quickly come down, crash a little bit back to this, and then make our next move, right? So yeah, we're looking still at this. Technically, we could still argue that our cup and handle is still in place with this, but we have removed it from the chart because it's looking less and less likely. But if that would be the case, then this is the next target, and if we could hit this target by the end of the year, we will be very, very happy. We don't need the Nasdaq. Bitcoin dominance quickly. We are still under the trend line that we have seen before. We have been coiling up for Bitcoin dominance slowly. I think the thing will be, if we were to have this massive push up and we confirm that we are not dropping lower, then I think Bitcoin dominance will rally. The question is, will it take out this high, or are we already done with Bitcoin dominance? I think we will still rally to at least 54%, 54, 55%. when the halving is in and Bitcoin goes on a massive rally, I think we're still going to rally up, and altcoins cannot keep up, and altcoins will bleed. Whenever they make profits, they will bleed into Bitcoin. So I think that's going to happen. We have been observing this trend line here for the altcoin space. Nothing has changed. We are still above this trend line. If we would break it to the downside, I think we will see massive bleeding of the altcoin market. But so far, we are still good here in this pattern. So nothing to worry. Let's look at Ecomi because I think this is interesting because we have been getting the retracement exactly as we pointed it out before. Let me just quickly refresh because of the trading view cannot handle so many windows at the same time. So, and get this in the middle. So here we go. So we had our push for Ecomi. This is our new big overhead resistance to break. And we have been coming down to retest. And I think now at the moment, this confluence level here, we have, I think we have arguably a lot of confluence here on this level. I mean, we have seen it as overhead resistance here once again, then we have pushed through it, and then we have been backtesting this level twice and now 3 times today. So the question is, will this hold on top of this basically, or yeah, that's basically what I want to see. If this can hold, maybe then I buy a little bit more here before the next push. But to be honest, I mean, we could just lose this level and come back to this line, and then maybe this also with regards to the indicators being still more in the direction of overbought. This could be true, and also if you consider that probably Vivi is not going to bring out this week the next utility for the Ecomi token, there could be just a cool down in the excitement, and we just test back on top of this level instead of this level. And then, yeah, I think from there we could be in a more favorable position to pump up once again, and the indicators would be cooling off more, but we cannot be sure. We could just put in the next big green candle from here. Also, I want to see Ecomi until the end of the year come above this level, so that we, or even with the next push, so that we can be above this afterwards. I think that would be very good for future action, and we have seen if we are more or less above this level, we are also in the top 100. So I really want to see that Ecomi is in the top 100, so it gets more and more attention, because that also brings people into Vivi, and overall would be really good if more and more people can accumulate before the full bull market is on, and we see already more adoption, more interest in the token and so on. I think this could be happening, but this all is still accumulation phase, so we could be having a really nasty retracement still here that will make increase FUD once again, together with the dropping prices in Vivi. We could see ourselves going here, for example, sideways, or we could ourselves even see us dropping here and still put in a lower high, a higher low. Yeah. So what do you guys think? What is going to happen? Vivi Wheels is here. What up, homies? How are you doing, guys? Yeah, that is it for Ecomi. So for Ecomi, the black swan would be all equally as bad if Bitcoin really drops hard, because altcoins will just bleed harder and traders will do their thing. That would then open up more opportunity for buying, obviously. And yeah, let's look at Vivi quickly also. We have a lot of statistics and numbers, I know, but I think that's the best to look at the moment when it is coming out. We have the monthly Vivi market pulse, and the market pulse is saying that active wallets are going a little bit down 2%, which is because there is no massive mega drop at the moment, although we had the Avengers 1 comic drop, for example, still, I think it was still in August. We have 1,000 new wallets. That is good. But even that is a slight decrease, but 1,000 new wallets is very good for Vivi. Then trades are down, buyers are up by 20%. So it seems that people are getting the memo that they are accumulating right now, also because some people are moving out of Vivi to get into the Ecomi token or to save their funds because they cannot stand anymore the Vivi crap market that is going on. So in Vivi, I think it's one of the hardest markets to not get desperate, because you always see your vault values going lower and lower and people cashing out and so on because of cash out. But at some point there will be a liquidity push into Vivi. I mean, we see it. Bezoge Man is just going crazy, heading to 25,000 collectibles. We have less tokens minted, 25% less tokens minted, and little bit of less minters. Overall we are a little bit down here. Then this happened, which could stabilize prices for a couple of days. Vivi sent maintenance update. Payout is currently down for maintenance and optimizations. We anticipate the return of the service within the next 24 to 48 hours. Apologies for the inconvenience. So I think that's good that they say how long it's going to take, because if they would have said, hey, payout is down again, please be patient, then this would have created a massive FUD wave. But payout is down for a little while, so this could stabilize prices and even make vaults increase by a couple of 100 gems, depending on how big your vault value is, just that you have heard that already. Then we also see here from the week until 2 days ago, 8,529 net accumulation in that week. Most purchased Bezoge Man with 2,500 collectibles, and then 10 toes with 239, and Thomas Jacobs with 184. And then we have basically this guy that is selling of 240, 235, and so the purchases are way bigger than the sales. And as we can see here, we have a net positive of 8,500, and we only have in the top 3,000 collectibles roundabout. That means also that 5,000 collectibles being accumulated by the overall users, right? Then quickly for Vivi, for the Vivi Drops, we have the Tinkerbell still sitting in the store. We have the Ronin comic coming up on Tuesday. This one here is one of the more modern comics, which I'm not so interested in. I was really excited about the Avengers, and I hit an ultra rare. And then we had the Predator comic movie, the Predator movie series, poster series before. Let's look at Mutescan quickly also for statistics. So Vivi wallets holding relatively stable. You see it here in the charts also. We have seen that we had the spike of 1,000 new ones, and then there are always some flippers selling off. So this is 99 wallet loss, then a little bit more wallets, and then again. So we are down about 120 wallets with collectibles from here. So overall, I think it's good. Like we see still a big uptrend. This is from 652,000 to 600. It's like around about 2,000 wallets from the beginning of July. So 1,000 new wallets. And what we really need to see is that active users are going up, right? Because we have seen that active users, despite the wallet increase, are down by 2%. Let's look at quickly at the whale statistics also. So we see here, if we can load this, so this is one by Vive. By the way, if you guys are interested in statistics, Vivi Fox is back with YouTube, and she has put out a very, very interesting video yesterday, I think, or 2 days ago, I'm not quite sure, about hodlers and how many flippers are really there and how many people are really active in the market and so on. So a lot of very good statistics, and she also made this dashboard that we are always using. And now we see here the first one, Bezos man. He's not even minting. He doesn't give a shit. He is just buying 2,500 collectibles up to yesterday. I saw him also buying some interesting stuff. We are going to go into this in a second. And then we see all the whales, Dr. Profit, 2 collectibles, and we see all the whales with a net positive here, a collectible increase. So there's really no net negative until place 26, which is the wallet that we observed out of the top 10 selling off massive amounts of collectibles into the market. But other than this one wallet or this one guy, we have mostly positive net accumulation. So yeah, whales are accumulating, and this is for me the message I also want to be accumulating in this market. So make sure to check out that video of hers. And let's look at the Mutescan quickly, because this is what I saw yesterday, what Bezosman was buying. So he bought Green Lantern, and he just casually bought sets. So he bought one set of the latest Disney drop, of the Tinkerbell drop. He bought apparently a set of the movie posters and a She-Hulk. I think I don't know if that's the secret rare or the rare. Yeah, and then as always, he's just casually on the side buying comics because apparently very cheap. So this guy is either trying to be the master of MCP, or he is trying to open, he's trying to open a store. And from what he's buying, if you see these comments everywhere and uncommons, I really think he's trying to open a comic store or being a comic retailer or reseller in the Veveverse. I mean, he's just not stopping, right? This is 8 hours ago, all of these transfers. And if let's see, I didn't refresh this. So here, 7 hours ago. So he did since yesterday, since he bought this set, he just kept accumulating for another hour. So you see here Hulk rares also he bought. So he seems to have a threshold or a price where he just observes the entire market, looks what's cheap, and then he just goes and buys all of that, apparently. So he's just buying all of the exits in that market. Vivi Wheels says, "I'm loving this information." Thank you, man. I hope I hope it's bringing value to you guys. So I think it's really interesting, because I am hesitant to purchase these like big amounts of commons, because in my mind it's always, there are some of them are 20,000, some of them are 60,000, some of them are 10,000 or 5,000. So I'm always with this focus on massive scarcity. But if you think about it, let's say you get a comic for 150 or 170 in the market. What's the likelihood of a 10x of that comic, so that it goes to 17 gems, versus a 10x on a 1,500 gem secret rare, right? So what's the likelihood of this going to 15 or 17 gems versus the other one going to 15,000 and selling for that price, right? So I think it's easier in a bull market to liquidate the commons and to have a 3x, 4x, 5x, 6x on them, or a 10x, than with a high value secret. Obviously, for me, the low priced secret rares, they also have this chance of a quick 10x, right? A secret rare that is very scarce and goes only for 50 gems. For me, that going to 500 is, if it has real life value, something like that, and people don't know about it, is very easy in my opinion, which is why I have 16 of those. Within my personal financial capabilities, that is the case, right? And then also a lot of these ultra rares where there are only 250 or 375 or 500 or 1000 of these ultra rares. So I'm trying to get one here and there of those, and I see the potential overall, especially for comics, because it's the only thing on the app where you have a massive collector scene with relative scarce collectibles on the app and real life prices to support a purchase decision. But then again, in a bull market, this goes all out of the window. People have been buying comics for common comics with 20,000 editions for 50 to 100 gems that are worth nothing in real life. So it's just crazy, and I'm excited to see where this leads. Vivi Weird says, yep, it will be easier to get rid of the common in a bull market. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the more you undercut under a high secret rare price, if you just do a 100 gem discount or so, then there will be some people that say, hey, look, I'm buying cheap here because it's going to go up more, and at some point some people will buy the top at this with this decision, right? But I'm really curious to see this, and I think so. For example, the Marvel Point 1, I've been loading up these with around 2 gems. I have like 25 or something of those. So part of my strategy will be to have some common comics for where 5, 6, 10 editions, so that I can gradually sell into prices that are going up more. This full transparency, this is going to be my strategy. With that said, guys, we're already at the end today. So guys, thank you all for joining. Please smash up the like button if you enjoyed this content today, with more focus on how could a Black Swan event look, how will be the consequence, what's the likelihood, and guys, if you can or if you haven't yet, then subscribe to the channel, obviously. Smash the like button if you haven't yet on your way out. That's very important to support the channel. If you want to become a rare hodler, that means purchasing the channel membership. You'll be minted on my intro screen, obviously. That I would really appreciate as well, for supporting the channel. And other than that, thank you for tuning in, and I see you tomorrow at Crypto Morning Coffee. So wherever you are on the world, have yourselves a great morning, evening, day, night, or afternoon. Enjoy your coffees. Andre Omigeko, thank you for your infos. Best. Thank you, Andrew Omigeko. And okay, I've already said my stuff, but Vivi Weird says, I'm curious to see how some comics that are not worth anything in real world will be very rare in the... Yeah, absolutely. This will happen. I think it will happen, especially with the Vivi exclusive covers. But yeah, so I see you tomorrow at Crypto Morning Coffee.